The movie begins with Chioma, Ejiro's younger sister, running breathlessly to a group of ram-fight spectators. She makes her way through the crowd and whispers into Ejiro's ear. He leaves the field with her and his friend Solo follows them. They arrive where Ejiro's drunk of a dad was asleep in a gutter and help pull him out. Ejiro's look-alike, Bamidele, just arrived Lagos from the States, and his dad engages him in a conversation about his political career, and soon after, the entire family head to Chief Ometere's house. When they arrive and the family exchange pleasantries, their daughter Adane bursts in complaining about her shoe and dress, interrupting them, and her mom has to leave to attend to her while her father ushers everyone to the dining table. At the dining table, everyone is enjoying their food except Bamidele's mother, and Bamidele is disturbed as they keep referring to him as in-law. Back at Ejiro's place, Chioma comes back with food and Ejiro tells her to give it to their father inside. She comes out minutes later and informs him that their dad is missing. He goes in to confirm and, discovering it's true, goes in search of his money and finds that missing as well. He rushes to the local bar and angrily confronts his father about his money, but leaves after realizing he was only wasting his time. He complains bitterly to Solo that the money was meant for their transportation to the music gig where they both will be performing that night. Solo tells him not to worry because he has little cash on him for both their transportation. At Bamidele's home, his father opens up about how Chief Ometere has accepted to sponsor his political dreams if Bamidele weds his daughter Adane. Bamidele refuses as he's already engaged to a girl in the US named Holly, but his father pleads with him to consider. That night, he goes to complain to his sister Kemi, and in her way of cheering him up, tells him to go get dressed as they both will be attending a music concert. Ejiro and Solo get on stage to perform just when Bamidele and Kemi enter and starts conversing. Her gaze remains fixed on the stage when Bamidele turns and locks eyes with Ejiro, and a shootout occurs. Back at their place, Bamidele and Kemi try to reason out the possibility of one having a complete look-alike when his sister mentions that he has a date with Adane later that day and he leaves her room. Meanwhile, Ejiro and Solo are devastated about the turn of events at the concert since they didn't get to perform, and this really upsets Ejiro. Solo tells him to confront his father about Bamidele, but he complains that his father would be too drunk to think rationally and lives in frustration. Later that day, Bamidele is out with Adane on a date, and her interaction with the waiter overwhelms him. He returns home to complain bitterly to Kemi, who tells him he has to move forward with the marriage plans for their father's sake. Suddenly, he gets an idea and leaves. He heads to the concert venue and meets Ejiro, who tells him he's been back there twice to look for him. Bamidele opens up to Ejiro about his predicament and pleads for them to switch places, to which Ejiro refuses, but later changes his mind when Bamidele offers to pay him 20 million naira since his father just got admitted into the hospital and is in need of an urgent liver transplant. Bamidele discusses his plan with Kemi and Jude, his friend. Although they are reluctant, they both decide to support him. The plan begins and Ejiro takes Bamidele's place. Bamidele's parents return from their trip and his mom goes to see him upon hearing he was involved in an accident. They consult Jude, who is a medical practitioner. He tells them Bamidele has a concussion and his behavior might be abnormal for some time. He also adds that Bamidele would be fine without any medical intervention, and they decide to trust him. Kemi and her mother are having a chit-chat when she asks about the possibility of Bamidele being a twin. Her mom begins to choke and spills her food and tells Kemi to quickly get her a towel. She confronts her husband about telling Kemi the circumstances surrounding Bamidele's birth, but he reassures her that he didn't. Just then, they hear a loud music sound and go to check, just to find Ejiro grooving to the music in his room. They are shocked and decide to fly him abroad for treatment. The Ometeris go to visit the Adebayos, and while they dine, the Ometeris are unimpressed by the food they are served. Adani notices Ejiro spitting out his food and urges him to follow her out. When they arrive at the restaurant, they begin chit-chatting and enjoying their food. Ejiro then realizes that Adani might not be so bad after all. Kemi confronts Ejiro the following morning and tells him to go announce to her parents that he's ready to marry Adani, which he does. His mother is skeptical about the whole thing and asks about his fiancée, Holly, but his father is excited and rushes off to call Chief Ometiri. Ejiro tells Bamidele that he needs to visit his father at the hospital urgently, but Bamidele pleads with him to stay back, that he will go to the hospital instead. When Bamidele visits the hospital, he is moved by Ejiro's dad's condition and pleads with Solo to take him to Ejiro's house. Solo hesitates at first, but later agrees. As they walk down to Ejiro's house, Bamidele is utterly bewildered by the living condition of the people in the area. Meanwhile, Adani and Ejiro are walking down and talking about their families, setting them up for marriage. Ejiro tells her he loves her irrespective of everything, and she admits to liking him too, and they share a kiss. Just then, Holly arrives and slaps him. That night, the Ometeris threaten to call off the marriage if Bamidele doesn't break up with Holly at once, and they leave the house angrily. Holly decides to leave, but Kemi and her mom pleads with her to stay. Bamidele enters the compound, trying to plead with her also, when Ejiro comes out and everyone is in shock. Bamidele confirms that Ejiro is his twin, with proof of a DNA result. Inside their house, Bamidele's mother narrates how she gave birth to twins, but one died shortly after. As Ejiro is about leaving, he receives a phone call from Solo about his father's condition and rushes out. Bamidele, his mom, and Kemi enter the hospital as Ejiro is holding his father's hand. Ejiro's dad touches his face, tells him he loves him, and takes his last breath. Ejiro's mom goes to comfort him. The movie ends with a scene from 30 years back when a nurse picks up a crying baby and mistakenly drops the baby with the wrong mother, while another nurse enters with a child and decides to drop the baby with the woman who had a single child by her. Thank you all for listening. Please do not forget to like and subscribe.